Good morning, traders. This is Tony D from easyMarkets in Sydney. We've had an interesting day in the markets overnight. Seen some selling coming through on the US stocks for the first time. So initially at the open, we did shoot higher all the way to 26.7 on the cash. Then we spent most of the rest of the day falling pretty steadily, and that weak and sluggishness has continued in Asia so far. Finding a little bit of support at fresh lows as we did go underneath just a couple of minutes ago. But this is an interesting price action. For the first time, you're seeing some potential signs of topping here in the Dow. We'll see what happens on this dip. Nothing damaging just yet, but if we do get a second day of selling, people will be a bit more concerned going into the potentially market-moving Trump speech, State of the Union on Wednesday during the Asian session. Broadly speaking, around about 1 o'clock Sydney time is expected to begin the speech. How much he goes on about potential trade sanctions and what's going on in the world and US's new trade policy could dictate how the market perceives the year going forward. And if you're looking for risk off, then that's potentially a way that can happen. In terms of the Fed meeting also tomorrow night, it's also a big piece of data where they could indicate that they're going to be raising rates in March. And what's happening in the bond market at the moment is yields are surging around the world, led by Europe. Yields as looks like ECB will probably be entering their tapering by the end of September. But also the fact that things are going so well around the world opens up the door for new countries to be raising rates that haven't been on the cards just yet. So one of those is the Aussie dollar. Key level had a huge rally in the last. If you're looking at the weekly, this is a 7-week rally all the way up to 81, and the market has been fairly brutal in terms of one-way action. Now, if we get above this level, which is the high from last year, also you see the high back in 2015 in the early March there, you can see that there's a bit of daylight all the way up to the low 80, to the high 80s, and towards at least 86 in terms of the potential targets. Now, this would happen if the market changes its view on when the RBA is going to raise its rates. At the moment, this is more of a global recovery and a commodity rally story. But if it's RBA going to raise rates this year, that's how you get that next leg higher. Now, the most important thing for the RBA is that we target inflation. So the CPI numbers are quarterly released and they're coming out tomorrow. Now, they're forecast to be 0.7. New Zealand came out with some very weak numbers last week. We're very similar to New Zealand generally. If we have very weak numbers, then the potential for the market to have a profit-taking week or two, or potentially putting in a top is there. If those numbers come in hot, or just at 0.7, which is starting to get up towards the rate hike levels, then you could see the Aussie make a move or break above this level, and that get very dangerous in terms of traders trying to sell the Aussie, who many have been on this record-breaking, sort of one-way move. The trouble might not be over. The market can easily shift into that next gear, especially if the US dollar remains weak. So tomorrow is a really, really important day for the Aussie in terms of that number, in terms of when we actually will see the RBA raising or not raising this year. And then you go into the Trump speech an hour after, and then also after that you got the FOMC that night. So it's a big day. When we come to by Thursday morning, we'll have a completely new picture in the market. Aussie dollar could be at 79 or 83. So it's an interesting time to be a trader. In terms of the euro pullback, haven't got down to that 123 level, which was proving a little bit of a resistance on the way up. If we do get below that, then the breakout level is that 2017 high. So that should become a new support if we are going to have a bit of a consolidation and correction here, which would fit the theme of US dollar pushing back as yields go up and stocks fall. That's very common sort of reaction as well, but we really don't want to count our chickens till they hatch. Asking for a second day of selling in the stock market is a big ask lately, and so calling the euro low is also a big ask in the same game. Alright, so look, we'll have a further review after those numbers. We're going to do the video tomorrow after those numbers come out. We'll have a quick reaction to those numbers. That's where we'll do a little analysis, and then the next thing on the agenda, we'll try to do in between the the Trump speech, and then after the Trump speech, we'll have another quick analysis video up as well. If you're not a member of the Easy Markets, you can dealing room, you can get access and have a chat with us about your particular pairs by clicking on the link below. If you are already a member, want to have a chat, you can contact us on our direct lines. Thank you.